Lisa Holland in Beijing, thank you.
With me here in Westminster are the swimmer Chris Cook. He represented Team GB at the Beijing Olympics and came 6th in the final of the 4x100 metres medley, and also Leon Edwards. He's managing director of Versapak, who manufacture drug testing equipment, although I should say I believe not involved in these Olympics. That's right. Yeah. I mean, Chris Cook, I've got to ask you, just this young girl's performance, 5 seconds improvement in her personal best in the course of the game. Does it make you feel suspicious?
No, it's an incredible performance. It was an incredible performance, but I think the language that was used was unbelievable and disturbing. I think that's interesting language to use for a swimming performance coming out of the American camp as well. It's just such a shame that when people do something amazing and outstanding, all of a sudden there's a drug cloud over them. It's such a sad state of affairs.
I mean, it has to be said that I think Claire Balding, the BBC commentator, also immediately started raising questions about the performance. Well, I mean, was there something so exceptional in her swim that did, frankly, look suspicious?
Well, no, the back part of her race was a very, very fast back end part, the back end speed, that freestyle part, the 100 free at the back of the 4 medley, and that was an incredible split. But it's not unheard of people that get to this level and then just having a fantastic games. She's got a best event coming up today, the 200, and it's going to be interesting to see how she handles it, really, because if she goes out and does what she's capable of doing, is there another cloud that hangs over her? I just think it's really sad, you know, where's innocent until proven guilty gone?
I mean, Leon Edwards, what standard is the testing now in the Olympics? I mean, if someone's at it, will they get caught?
I don't think there's any doubt that they will get caught. The standards have improved dramatically. The work that UK anti-doping are doing and IOC and LOCOG is outstanding. If someone dopes, then it's likely they will get caught. Don't think there should be any doubt in that.
So how many times will this girl who was a competitor and then won a gold, how many times before and after will she have been tested?
Well, they would have been tested throughout the year building up to the Games. Since they've been to London, the Chinese team, not necessarily her, but the Chinese team have been tested over 100 times. There is a process, it's very robust. The number depends on how successful you are, for example, and whether there are any suspicions, but she may be tested 3, 4, 5 times in her competition period.
I mean, if we've got these testing procedures in place, we need to place the trust and the faith in them. Otherwise, it's pointless having.
I mean, and if you're well placed, I think I'm right in saying in the top 5,
yeah,
you get tested again. Yeah,
you're tested out of competition, so you could be tested at your home. You're tested in competition, so any times you post throughout the 4 years in the middle, you're tested regularly.
And this is what blood and urine, or just urine?
This is urine samples.
Would it be better to have blood tests?
There are blood tests as well now. We have a new system that have been introduced by WADA called the biological passport, and that essentially gives WADA and the doping control authorities a baseline. So we can see spikes, and therefore we can see any spikes in performance and read it from there.
Now, some experts have been saying that what you need is post-testing for months afterwards, really, to see if there's been any impact on the hormone. I mean, does that take place, or would that help?
That does take place. The whole blood collection process now and the biological passport is in place to do that. You would have seen recently some athletes that have been banned maybe 6 months, a year further down the line after competition because they've noticed the spike in their biological passport.
I mean, so if the system is enforced so well, it would seem that the temptation to take drugs is probably less than it was, perhaps.
Absolutely. I mean, what was quite sad before the Games was we were letting athletes in Great Britain through that they were already banned from the Olympic Games, i.e. Dwayne Chambers. I thought that was quite sad, that really, because then you sort of putting something in place where it is worth the risk. You know, you're banned for a little bit, but you will be allowed back in. I think that's sad. A ban is a ban, as far as I'm concerned.
But that, as I understand it, was the international rules, wasn't it?
That's correct. That's correct. I mean, I'm interested in Claire Balding's comments because she's maybe looking from the viewpoint that I would as a sports fan. Chris is fortunate that he understands just how rigorous this process is. As an athlete, you will understand just how often you're tested, and you cannot get away from the point where you give the sample, the chain of custody collected in one of our kits, all the way through to when it's tested. There can be no interference.
Absolutely. But in a sense that, you know, the whole point about the Olympics is that the excitement, the pressure, I mean, does draw extraordinary performances out of people.
It does, and at that level, you know, you get out there and you're there to give your best performance, and that's what she's done. She's done a job as far as we're concerned. If she's been tested, she's clean. If she comes out clean, that medal has just been tarnished, and it's devastating to see.
Now, as a male and female swimmers, I mean, when is their peak in their teens generally? Is it?
It's changing a lot now. The sport is really changing. You know, we've got some of the girls who are peaking a lot earlier. We've seen some teenagers taking medals. We're also seeing from the last Olympics some of the American women coming through closer to their 40s. So it's sort of peppered all over the place now. It used to be sort of early to mid 20s, but there's really no rule book in terms of age of peaking. And
overall, is it right that the standards improve? I mean, if you take Rebecca Adlington, she swam faster than she did when she got gold, and she was it a bronze this time?
Got bronze this time. Pockets of medals are going everywhere. And I think the thing to remember is, you know, with a nation such as China, they've got a very different discipline. They've got a very different commitment to the sport. And you see that in everything they do, from the way they walk around the village. You know, they're very, very disciplined. And sport lends itself to discipline and commitment. And I think they've got that in abundance in that team.
I mean, there are also suggestions that perhaps there's quite a lot of American sour grapes, that they're not doing as well in the pool as they have done.
It could be because, you know, in Beijing they topped the medals table, and you know, and now not.
There wasn't any comment about Phelps and some of the performances. There is a little history. There was some murmurings about Usain Bolt back in Beijing as well that emanated from the American camp. So, yeah, I think there could be an element of that involved.
All right, but for now, innocent.
Absolutely.
Innocent, definitely.
Okay, thank you both very much indeed.
You're watching Bolton & Co. To read Adam or my thoughts on today's interviews, you can follow us on Twitter and post your own comments online as well. When we come back, I'll be taking a look at anger from Manchester United fans over plans to sell shares in the club. A fresh bid for freedom from the radical